All right, dímelo mi gente, what's up? This is Oscar, aka Mr. Don Dale,
This is Brian, aka Bianca.
and welcome to Dale Sin Límites or Dale No Limits podcast. Thank you for once again tuning in this episode. So we truly appreciate you. This is episode 2. So thank you for that because we were able to take your feedback, take your advice and your wisdom. So we really appreciate you trusting us one more time and giving us time out of your day to watch us. So today we're going to debut episode 2. Before I give off the mic to Bianca, I want to introduce this person and give my point of view on this person. This person is a great friend of ours. He is a part of the 1% already in the marathon journey. So we are excited to bring him along the way. We actually met at Paso Run Club. So we probably, bumped into each other without knowing because he is a frequent customer of Reyes Deli, who is also sponsoring this podcast. And through, how life would be, right? We ended up bumping into each other once again in Paso. We also went to middle school together without even knowing. So this great friend is, a mentor to a lot of us, especially to him and myself. He is a very young man, I'm older than this individual, but I, look up to him and his running journey. And I use his guidance and his inspiration and, his journey to go along with my journey. So this person is somebody near and dear to us, and we are excited to have him here on the journey with us in this episode 2.
So our guest, not only is he very hardworking, disciplined, and very courageous. I've known this person about to be 2 years now, way before the Run Club. It was an honor for myself to meet him. I'll give a little context about that when he's here. But without further ado, please welcome Jose, also known as Chepe.
Chepe, woo!
Let's go. Good, man.
Yo, nice having you.
So welcome to the podcast, man. It's a pleasure for you to be here. So Jose, it's been 2 years that we met. I know we met way before the Run Club.
Yeah.
And we gotten closer ever since the Run Club happened.
Yes.
So Jose, can you please tell us more about yourself or what you do, what your goals are and stuff?
Okay. So first and foremost, thank you guys for having me. I've been expecting a lot from this. Been very hyped. I've been very happy for you guys that you guys chose to do a podcast. And I'm very thankful for you guys having me as a special guest, because I guess the whole point of this, to my understanding, is you guys want to showcase individuals and highlight people, and when it comes to the running community, it's very broad, and each person is unique, each person is special in their own way. Everybody has their own situations when it comes to running. Everybody does their own plans. Everybody does their own they have their own specific relationship when it comes to running. So when it comes to my case, me personally, I started running when I would say I've been running for almost 10 years consistently, but I have been running competitively, I would say, for about 2 years now. So I first debuted my first ever official race was in 2023, and it was a half marathon. It was the RBC Brooklyn half marathon. When I would run, I would always opt to run as a form of workout. I would always just run just because I've always hated lifting weights at the gym. I've always my preferred workout method has always been cardio, so I would always gravitate towards that. If it wasn't running, it was always playing soccer. And I think I chose to run more consistently because once I realized I was playing soccer more consistently, I felt, if I run a little bit more, I'd be able to last longer on the field and play a full 7-a-side game. So when I started running more consistently, one of my boys who got me into road racing, he would notice he would see my paces. He would see oh dog, you're killing it. Why don't you sign up for this race? He had some half marathons on his belt already. He would just do it just for I don't know if you guys can curse here, but he would just do it for shits and giggles. So he told me just do it, sign up. You don't really got much to lose. He's just it's a lottery. At the end, if you get in, you get in. If you don't, you don't. At the end, what do you got to lose? So for me, when I first signed up, I'm yeah, you know what? I'll do it. What do I have to lose? And for my luck, I did get accepted, and At the time, the longest distance I have done by myself was just only 10 miles. So I'm like, right then and there, I'm like, okay, I kind of got to lock in. I got to see more or less. I guess looking at it now, when it comes to my running journey, I see that it is very, what I did compared to them was very skewed in a sense, because like, you know, a lot of the times people are saying never run the race distance. I did the exact thing. I ran the race distance. I did the 13.2 miles. I just wanted to see what can my body do, what is it capable of to do, and I was able to do an hour 34. Mind you, at the time I had no idea what pacing was. I had no idea what a good time was. So I did an hour 34 just as a practice, and then from then and there I'm like, okay, I'll shave off 4 minutes for my first half marathon, and lo and behold, I managed to do the RBC half at 1:30 and 10.
Oof, damn, man, that's very great to hear. I mean, sheesh, I can't even I'll hope to hit those numbers soon. So the good thing about the running journey is that it brings us people together. It brings
Yes.
a lot of people together. I think running has changed our lives, right? Now, I know, just to give you guys more context, viewer, once again, I met Chepe at Paso Run Club. Just to give you guys more information, he is the Paso captain, but I like to call it like the third leader. He's essentially is the third leader of Paso Run Club right there, all right? Shout out to Paso, right? I was going to say Panson. I'm like, yo, chill, B. Shout out to Paso Run Club, and they meet every Thursdays, right? Location varies, but 7 p.m. they start at the dot with stretching, and then they proceed with running. So please check them out on Instagram. Paso Captain, also check him out on Instagram as well for more inspiration, tips, all right, and words of wisdom. Now, I know Paso holds a special place in your heart.
Yes.
What does Paso mean to you? Like, how did you come across this run club, and what does he mean to you now? Like, do you picture your life without Paso, or like, what would your life be if Paso wasn't in your life? Because it is something that I see that means a lot to you. Obviously, right? Evelyn and Angelo, shout out to you. You trust this individual with giving him essentially the third level of leadership in the club. So you trust this individual. So we appreciate you for trusting him. What does he mean to you? Yeah.
So it's interesting that you say that, because for me, going to Paso was just very on a whim on my end. I saw their page pop up to me one time when they were like still running in a story before they made the official move to Central Park, and I thought about it, but like, I mean, I know, like, getting to Astoria from Brooklyn, particularly South Brooklyn, it's a pain to get there. Like, and at the time, I was just like, I'll think about it, I'll consider it, but there was just no motivation on my end to go until I saw one of our friends, Brandon. So our friend Brandon, also known as Sassy B, we went to middle school, or I particularly went to middle school with him here in Sunset Park, and then we also went to high school together. And so when I would see like he would be popping up on the Paso Run Club page, I was like, oh, I recognize him. I'm like, I've always been wondering, like, oh, you start to wonder like how are like old friends doing, like what are they up to, and I saw he was there. And one thing that struck me peculiar about him is that he was he was the kind of person that he would hardly post on social media. He would hardly be posting like on like what he was doing and stuff like that. But then he just started drawing attention for the run club as well, because he would start posting. He's like, oh, I'm just on my shift. I'm be heading to Central Park. I'm going to be going to run. And then like that just caught my attention, because I'm like, from all I've known him for like I've known him since like 2010 to say I went to Paso 2 years ago. So 2023, 4, I want to say. For that whole time frame, he was never posting anything. So the fact that I saw he was posting this run club in particular, I'm curious, like, what does this run club like mean to him? But also, I'm like, let me give it a shot, in a sense, because another reason I went to Paso was I wanted to work more on my pacing. When I would run individually, like I would start fairly, like I was very good at pacing, but I would always like get too overwhelmed, and I would like just start to speed up like the latter miles. And even though like the runs are just a 5K, just 3 miles, I think just keeping myself like consistent, keeping myself like on top of myself, like, okay, let me just keep at a certain pace. I think Paso Run Club was very good for that. And again, primarily my biggest influence of going was to reconnect with a friend, and then just going there, like I went there, and it was like a warm environment. Everybody was so welcoming. Like everybody said, "What's up to you?" This like, "How are you?" This and that. And like as much as it doesn't show, I mean, I always tell people I'm an introvert. People refuse to believe that I'm an introvert because of what's it called? I guess because of just how outgoing I can be. But I will say that is grateful. I am grateful to Possible for that, because they have been able to break me out of my shell. They have been able to allow me to be a little bit more vocal. They've been because of them, I have been able to be more expressing of myself. And then like moving forward, like I would just find myself going to Possible every Thursday consistently. And adding to that, I've always credit my progress to Possible Run Club. Because of that run club, I was able to meet many individuals. I was able to meet my coach, Diego Llanos, there. And if it wasn't for him, who just randomly told me, he's like, hey, like, after the Fred Lebois half marathon last year in 2025, he told me, he's like, yo, you want to coach? Like, I got to practice my degree. He's like, I see potential in you. Like, do you want to give it a shot? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's go for it. And I met him through Paso, and if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have progressed to achieve such feats I have now.
Shout out Paso, we have the best Latin community out there with the run clubs. Shout out Diego too, great coach out there. If you need to hit him up. So Jose, I know you ran 5Ks, 10Ks, 15Ks, half marathons, and now you ran a Philly marathon.
Yes.
You ran a Philly marathon. What tips, or how? Matter of fact, before we get to the tips, how did you feel completing your first marathon? Right? Am I correct? Your first marathon. How did you feel knowing that you completed? You crossed the finish line. Was the time that you got expected? Is it like a time that you could work on? What we're looking at?
So technically, it wasn't my first marathon. The thing is about me, like I've always, after I did my first half marathon, I was very interested in what my body could handle. Because again, I got a lot of praise from people saying like, oh, you did such a good time. Like, what was your training and all that just for that particular half marathon? And then in my head, I'm like, I was just running to run. I didn't know much about running. I didn't know about zones. I didn't know about pacing. I ran the first half marathon without gels or anything. I ran it just in like soccer shorts, just regular like $100 like shoes from Amazon, the actual like the regular race day shirt they gave you, and I was able to achieve that time. And then people like were like surprised. They're like, oh, like you're just a very good runner. And then from there, that's what piqued my curiosity. I'm like, oh, what would happen if I took this sport seriously? What happened if I actually trained? And so moving forward to Philly, I was grateful to have, again, Diego as my coach. And so prior to that, I have done the distance before, just because like the year prior to that, I was just like running just to run. I would like test myself with longer distances. So I knew I can run a marathon. I knew I could run this distance. Now the only challenge for me was, what can I do at a race pace? So I, for the most part, I was also racing a lot last year. I was doing like a bunch of other races, but that also I feel like I credit towards like helping me build a base, helping me build like more consistency in terms of running at race pace for Philly. Moving forward to like running Philly, I feel like I was pretty prepared. I felt like I was very well equipped, especially with like asking people like for tips and guidance. I do credit my fueling strategies to Walter from Golds, because he posted a reel about like when it comes to fueling, and like for the most part when you do your long runs, you always like practice your fueling tips then and there. And for the most part, I feel like whatever he did, I was already doing. But what he was more insinuating is that you want to make sure you want to have everything on you, because my plan was, keep everything, try to have some things on me and like have things off to like other people, and like mid race just have them like pass it on to me.
Yeah.
But not that I didn't have faith in them, but I feel like I don't want to risk the chance like, hey, maybe something happens mid race where I'm like either ahead or I'm a little behind, and then like we're just like we cannot communicate. So I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I'm gonna just carry the things with me. Like I'm gonna keep true to like what Walt said. You want to make sure you have your fuel with you. You want to make sure you have everything with you. One thing I always did for the races and for try practice for much of my races is I always alternate between water and the electrolyte stations. I always start off with the water, then go to electrolytes, and then just go back and forth just to make sure I'm properly hydrated, but also have the enough sodium that my body needs for the races. But like once I feel like at a certain point, like I do think I might cramp, I disregard water and just focus on electrolytes all completely. I know during Philly, I think mile 20, like one of the later miles, like after I did the turnaround, I think mile 20, that's when I felt like, I thought I was gonna cramp up. So right then and there I decided, all right, no more water, just focus on electrolytes. And yeah, when it comes to the training, I feel like Diego did a good job prepping me for it. I know a lot of times people don't really want to say, put a goal time for your first race, like, because you want to respect the distance, and at the end of the day, like, you really do. 26 miles isn't a cakewalk. It's a very difficult distance. Like, what's called, like many people say, the real race doesn't start until like mile 20, mile 18. So you really want to respect the distance. I do hardly like suggest, like, if you are running your first marathon for the first time, don't set a goal time. I feel like I did that more or less because I knew what I was capable of to an extent. My goal time for Philadelphia, I wanted to achieve the sub 3 hours, and I think I was fairly on track up until mile 24, where I just felt my body just hit the wall, where everything just felt heavy. Everything felt like I was, like, my legs, my shoulders, it felt like I was just running with extra added weight. And granted, I had Angelo pacing me like that last mile before, from mile 24 to mile 25. I had him pacing me. He was able to like shave off some time right then and there. But then just that extra mile, like, to just go to the finish, it was a little bit brutal. It was hard for me to just maintain that pace consistently. But I was able to push. I was able to be consistent. My pacing was fine. I already had a plan running the race where the half marathon mark, I would try to attain 1:30, and then from there, depending how I was going, just slowly progress faster and faster.
Oof, man, we love to hear that, man. And how did it feel at the end, man? Because, like you said, I know you off camera, we spoken. I do know that you have done marathon distance in the past,
Mm-hmm.
right? Unofficially, right? Just doing it in a park, the West Side Highway. How did it feel crossing that finish line? Also being the son of Mexicans, right? Being first generation. How did that feel for you to accomplish that? Being a member of the Latino community and also representing Paso Run Club. How did it feel at the end when you were able to surpass that wall and you were able to reach the finish line? And from what we saw in pictures, you had a lot of great friends and great support system that were there along the way to be there with you. They traveled all the way to New York City for Philadelphia. So also, if you have any messages for those individuals who were there cheering you on at the Philadelphia Marathon.
Yes, I have much support for them. Like, if it wasn't for them, seeing them on the course, it was definitely a very motivating. Like, just in any race in general, you see your friends, you see your family, you get motivated. Like, I feel like you yourselves, if when you guys run, when you see like a person on the course, like, you, even if it's just for like a minute or if it's for like 30 seconds, you feel like that spike of what's it called? You see that spike of like energy, and you slowly pick up the pace, even if it's just for a few seconds. You feel it. So for the course, like, that was very good on my end. Like, I saw that, I knew I had the motivation. I had not only my fellow members from Paso, but I also had my fellow teammates from Rebeldes. So one thing that many people probably don't know is that even though I support Paso Run Club, like, I'm a very active community member with them, I chose to run competitively with Rebeldes for a separate reason.
Shout out Rebeldes.
But it's also thanks to them that I was able to, like, they gave me proper tips, they gave me proper fueling strategies, and just seeing them throughout the course. Like, I didn't expect to see them. Like, I didn't know where they were going to be. I know they were going to be present because I know I had some teammates also running the race, but also seeing them from the start, seeing them at mile 10, and then seeing them like at mile 20, similar to like where Paso was like at the end. Surprisingly, I was asking like my partner Giselle, like, did you see that they were there? You guys were literally like inches apart, and she was like, no, we didn't even realize we were like apart, but like, yeah, they were right there. And like, this was, normally I don't really get emotional when it comes to finishing a race, but there's like the first time where like just the bulk of it, you felt the training, you felt the support, everything, all of that bottled up towards the end. And like me, I tried my best like to contain it as much as I could, because I'm like, not that I don't have anything against like crying in a race, but I knew right then and there that the first person I saw that I recognized outside of the race, like as soon as I got out of that finish line, I got out of the corrals, like that first person I saw, like I knew right then and there, that first hug, everything was gonna come out. And fortunately, it was Angelo that got that. I'm sorry, Angelo, you have my mocos on your chalecos and everything, but what's it called? He got to see that. He got to see. He was there to support me. He got to see that that side of me, which not many people really get to see. But yeah, I was like all of that. I don't know. You can't really put it into words. It's just wow. Like, you finish the race, like you just feel all of that training, you feel all that hard work, you feel all those emotions. I don't know. It's difficult to explain.
It's the accomplishments that you've done. A lot of emotions hit into once, mixed feelings.
Yes.
But It's indescribable.
It's it's that, and also I feel like also to my extent, I this sounds very, how can I put it? It sounds very like, not putting myself down, but I've always viewed myself as like a person that, not that I'm not anybody special, but I'm just a regular person. I'm not anybody, like, to put it in my terms, like, I've always just like, I'm just a nobody. I'm not anybody special. I'm just a regular person. I'm like one person out of however many people there are on this planet. I'm just doing my own thing. I'm just doing things that I find like that are for my hobbies, and for me, like, I just do my things just to do the things, because I do this more so for myself. I don't really do this for anybody else. I just want to prove a point to myself that I am capable of doing such feats. I am capable of, like, if I am consistent enough, if I am like determined, I can push and do the things I set myself to do.
You know, I feel like me and Oscar could vouch that you're a very humble guy. You know, simplicity defines you who you are. You know, a lot of people out there see you as an inspiration, a captain, a leader, a person who motivates others to, you know, push their limits. You know, my question now is, who is your inspiration? Who, like, you look up to and say, you know what, this was the reason why, or this person was the reason why I'm running and giving it my all.
So I feel like my why has constantly changed throughout times. I feel like, again, going back to like why I started running in the first place was, first and foremost, it was to lose weight. Again, I hated lifting weights. I've always relied on cardio to, like, just as a form of exercise, as a preference for exercise. So that was my reason of just to get into running. And then little by little, once I started doing like road racing, my why was like, it just became a curiosity. Like, what can I achieve if I like took this seriously? Where can I like push my limits? And then it wasn't until I met also Rebeldes. I feel like they're my biggest inspiration moving forward now, because I see them. They're also a group of Hispanics, of Latin Americans, Mexicans, Ecuadorians, Guatemalans, and what's it called? For the most part, growing up, I've always felt, at least on my perspective, that when you grow old in a Hispanic household, a lot of times you always just saw people seated. You always just saw them like lounging around, and not that there's nothing wrong against that, but yeah, you never really saw older Hispanics going out competing, like running. Like, I know you have that one marathon winner, that the Mexican that won years ago. I think he won the marathon a couple times for New York, but it was unheard of just seeing, like, older Hispanics just running out in the streets, like pushing the limits and running with the Rebeldes. I have seen, like, shout out to Nicholas, shout out to Orlando, shout out to Gustavo. Like, they're like in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're doing insane times that in my mind I'm like, oh, that's crazy, because you wouldn't think of like, oh, somebody this age, somebody from this community doing at such time. Like, I remember last year I went to go support Nick at Boston, and I remember when he finished the race, his like words was like, oh, he was looking for Heartbreak Hill. Everybody always talks about Heartbreak Hill for Boston because you see it at mile 20. Like, it's always like, it's a make or break. It can make or break your race. And he's like, I was looking for the hills, I didn't find it. And like, he finished that race like calmly. He managed to do a 2:45 for Boston, which is insane.
Sheesh.
And so like, when I see them doing like other races, like, I know I've seen Campis who was done New York, and like, I want to say 2:30s, 2:40s, and like, these are older people. These are also people who are also dedicated to the craft. They're dedicated to the sport, and like, just seeing that is also just motivation for me. Like, when I'm like, I just like, before, I'm like, when I was that when I envisioned myself being that age, I'm like, I didn't picture myself being quote unquote an athlete, but like, moving forward, I see that more and more, and I just want to be that when I'm older. I want to be the kind of person like, oh, at that age I'm still properly able to move. I can like move without needing a cane. I can move freely. I can move actively.
Nice, bro. Nice to hear that. And those were words of inspiration. Like, we can always say, like, our bodies, we can prove our bodies wrong. I think, it's fair to say that you have, pushed and, broke every barrier that you had in your running journey. You have always been consistent. You show up. You run roughly like 5 to 6 times a week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I run 6 times a week. Depending on what I'm training for, the average miles are somewhere between 40 to 60.
Sheesh, there you go. You heard it from him. 40 to 60 miles. Sheesh. I am barely making 40 a week myself. Sheesh. But with that being said, man, what are your future goals, right? It could be anything, really. I'll leave that up to you. And also with that question, what are you training for next, all right? just to give you guys some more context, he is also running the New York City Marathon this upcoming November. So besides that, yeah, he's going to become a two-time marathoner and he's going to complete his first world major. I know, how is that going, that training plan going, and any other things that you want to do? Like, what is your next, you know, goals after the New York City Marathon?
So believe it or not, I think I know a lot of people, they set their sights to they want to run all the world majors, and I do believe that's a good thing. That's a good goal to set out. But I think for me in particularly, like again, I was never into like road racing. Like when I first got into running, it was more so just I just enjoyed running as a hobby. I think now I'm looking at it, like I just want to run. I think I put myself like I just want to explore the world with running and just use that as a motivation to like both explore the world and also just if I get to run, I get to run. What's it called? I think I set myself to at least try to do a marathon in one of every state in the United States. So I have Philadelphia done. I have New York City done. Hopefully, if everything goes well and I'm healthy by the end of this year. I'm also doing Mexico City this year.
Oof.
And I was supposed to do Jersey City. What is it, next week? I was supposed to run it, but mid training block for United, I like felt like a discomfort in my leg. It was just like a whole spiral of emotions, and I feel like right now in particular with like my running journey, like comparing it to where it was last year and comparing it to this year, like I've like hit a stagnant like state where not that I'm not making progress, but more in the sense of like I'm like trying to reassess my relationship with running as well. But I feel like for the most part, right now I guess my goals would be for this year, ideally would be to compete and do the RBC half marathon in under 120. But again, I'm just coming off like a slight injury. If I had discomfort along my sciatica, but we'll see. Hopefully, if I'm able to, jump into gears right away, hopefully I can achieve that time. And if not, then God will test me, and I would have to do that time for Staten Island, which is a very rough course, but
Yeah.
hopefully we can get it done. Aside from that, again, Mexico City, ideally I was gonna do it for fun. I was gonna do it just for giggles, but like the more I look at it, the more I'm like looking into it, and especially because like I chose to not run Jersey City, because again when I was like training for United, I just didn't feel ready for United either. Like I was originally gonna go for 120 for United, but like just that last taper week, I felt my body. I felt like I wasn't prepared for United as I thought I was. So I immediately chose, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just run United just to run it. Whatever result I get is what I get. We'll just use that as a basis to reassess. And then right then and there, during one of like my taper track sessions, like there was just some discomfort among my legs, and I'm like, I am not fit for Jersey City. I am not that I'm not capable. I feel like I probably could have done a decent time, probably could have done better, but at the end of the day, would not have been proud with the results. I wouldn't have it wouldn't be something I would be proud of, and I just didn't want to exhaust my legs on another race, knowing that there's a half marathon the following month. So I just chose to bin it. Let me just, let me what's it called? Take the what's it called? No, not take a hit. You put it off to next year. So I basically
Put on hold.
Put it on hold.
I put it on hold for next year. Like if I'll do it next year, we'll test myself then. And so the focus had shifted to RBC, then for Mexico City, and then New York.
Okay, man. I mean, thank you for being vulnerable, and I just want to have a follow-up question to what you just mentioned right now, because I'm also in this place where I think more so now, a month now, I have also reassessed where I am with my love for running, where I have been with what can I do, because similar to your comment, injuries sucks, they really do suck. You have to understand when to stop, you have to understand when to take days off, because post marathon, I had a goal too. I wasn't able to accomplish it because I also was a little bit of a terco, and I was also hard-headed, and I didn't take the proper gels that I needed to, and wore unnecessary clothing. I was in this little running slump, I guess you can say running depression, where I was like, yo bro, I didn't reach my goals, damn, what happened? So I started telling myself these easy runs were just my excuse, that I'm not gonna do speed work or this and that. I'm just going to do easy runs because I can always do the mileage again, do the speed again. But then when I was trying to come back to my rhythm, I saw that the times that I was hitting before were not the times that I was hitting anymore. And now recently, thankfully, my love for running came back because now my goals are set to also run alongside with him on the New York City Marathon in November. Like, how do you reassess what is your current relationship right now with running, and how do you learn from the setbacks that you have gone through? Because like you said, I was there, to support you. You told me the times that you wanted to hit, and I was looking at my iPhone. I was like, sheesh, something's wrong with my boy. What's happening with him? What's going on? Not my boy, not my my speedster. Sheesh. Yeah, man, talk to us more on that.
It sucks. Like at the end of like you have your hopes set up for like you spend a lot of months, you spend a lot of time trying to train for set times, and again like the race doesn't owe you anything. I will tell you that much. Any race, whether it's a 5K, whether it's a 10K, a half marathon, a full marathon, that race does not owe you anything, no matter how much you prep for it. Just say something. There's not something in the cards for you that day. It happens. There's not much you can do about it. That there was an incident that happened to me like that for RBC last year, like the one you were talking about. I was also aiming for 120 for that race, and what's it called, at the 10K mark, I felt like my right leg stiffen up. I felt like it just could not push. I think whatever the injury I had this year was what I felt last year, but I was just too stubborn to like realize what it was, but also just thought I'm like, oh, it's just I hit a wall. And that was like the first time running wise I felt not disappointed in myself, but like but to an extent I felt defeated, because I'm like, I just ran like a month before, I was hitting these paces fine, like what's happening? And like that was like the first ever time I've considered like I want to bin this race bad. Like I would take the DNF, like it's not worth it, like I don't want to put myself through it, like I don't even want to see that time, like, I'll just take the DNF. But like mid race, I remembered I when I run these road races, I run with the Rebelde shirt, I run with their colors, to if you would say. And I looked down and I remembered I'm running for this team at the end of the day. Like I don't want to shame this team. It was also my like first year running with them. It was probably my second or third race running with them. And I remember one time one of my who I call Rosendo, I call him Profe. He told me is like there's times when these races like you'll have instances where your mind just goes to like a very dark place. Your mind goes to like this place where like, oh, Bennett is not worth it, this and that. Slow down. You'll always have like another chance to redeem yourself. And even though like, yeah, it's true, you can always slow down, you can bend it, you can do whatever you want. But he also says like once you start getting yourself into that groove, into that mindset more consistently, it becomes habit, and it's harder to get you to pull yourself out of it later on. So right then and there, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to attain that 120, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna just still give it my all. I'm gonna still push to what I could, to what my body allows me to, and just get my body across that finish line. And again, the time I got isn't a bad time for what most people would consider. I think I finished the race in like a 125 and change. I wasn't proud of it because again I spent months training for a specific set time, but what's it called, at the end of the day I was still proud of my efforts regardless. Like that was my second time running that race. I was able to get a course PR, so I was proud of that at the end of the day. But just reassessing, I'm like, okay, like let me just see what I need to work on more. Luckily again I have someone I can work with, like with Diego, so I'm very transparent when it comes, well, I try to be as transparent as I can about everything. Like, hey, what's it called, I feel a pain here, I feel like discomfort here every time I run. Like recently with this like little injury, I got cleared to go run on Thursday, so I ran the 3 miles with Paso. And what's it called, the following day I sent him a message like, you know what, leg feels great, like what's it called, it feels good, there's no pain or anything. And he's like, all right, good, we'll do some cycling today and we'll do some miles tomorrow and we'll just take it easy. But just from my own point of view, when it comes to running, I think it's not that it's hard to reassess. I think my biggest takeaway what I did last year is I did too much. I did sign up for a lot of races just because I just wanted to run fast. And this year I'm taking a hold back. Like, not that there's nothing wrong with that, but like it does take a toll, especially when you're training for like a lot of things. So I think my biggest learning curve last year was like take it easy, focus on like smaller things and then slowly like build up to it. And like each like race, just learn from them. Like the one thing you can always do from a race, whether it's a good race, whether it's a bad race, you can always learn from it. Like, oh, maybe my pacing strategy wasn't that good, maybe this wasn't bad, maybe this is what I did wrong, this is what I did good. And you just use whatever you learn from those races and put it towards the next race.
So you express your love for running. You love to run every day. You work hard, discipline. When we talk about Paso, I look at you as a leader. When we talk about Rebeldes, I see you as a family. Is there a message you want to give to Paso and Rebeldes for not only being a special clubs, but also have a special place in your heart to the run clubs that make you feel like family?
Honestly, it's hard to put into words, but I feel like I just want to give a huge thank you to them, because again, if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for their help, if it wasn't for their support, again, I don't think I would be where I am when it comes to running. I don't think I'll be able to be putting off these paces that I am doing if it wasn't for their tremendous support, their tremendous guidance, their tips of hey, let's do these races, or let's do these runs together as a group. Because again, I do track workouts with Paso on Tuesdays. That's where I try to do most of my training. Then I do my own individual trainings on Fridays, and then with the Rebeldes, I try my best to go to as many long runs as I can, because they do long runs every Sundays early in the mornings. And granted, we go throughout the boroughs. We sometimes go to the Bronx, sometimes we go to Queens, sometimes to Brooklyn, just depending on where the majority of people can meet. And just training with a group of people that hold you accountable. That's what I'm more so grateful for, because they keep you accountable. They keep they keep your head up. They keep your spirits up, and they motivate you to just push for more, to do more.
I love that, man. I love to hear what you just said, and I really appreciate it. Like you mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, you consider yourself more of as an introvert, but I think that's one of your best qualities, because you're very humble. You're a leader without even realizing that you are a leader. Honestly, we look up to you, right? Even though you're younger than us, we look up to you. We really appreciate you. A lot of people look up to you in the Paso community. All right, they see someone like you as a natural born leader. So we want to appreciate that from you. All right, always. We got to give respect where respect is due. What message, before we close it off, I'll ask one more question. For any aspiring runner, any message for them in terms of why you should join a run club, or why you should take this on a journey, because there could be somebody watching right now who is been seeing these run clubs but doesn't know quite or have the courage to do so. What kind of little advice can you seek, and in terms of giving them the proper tools to want to seek a run club? And just give us more context on that before we conclude.
I think my advice to somebody, if they're looking to join a run club, take it from my point of view. I viewed myself as an introvert. I don't really talk to many people like that. I don't come out of my shell too easily. And coming into Paso, I think I was very quiet. I was very, I was just there. I was there to run as much of a social group. It is I'm going to a social event, and my biggest thing was I'm just there to run. I'm not really there to socialize. Look at me now. 2 years later, I'm there every Thursday. I'm a leader for the group. If it wasn't for Paso Run Club, I'm grateful to Paso Run Club, because they were able to provide me with a group of friends. I was able to reconnect with other friends as well, such as yourself. Like you said, we went to the same middle school. We were from the same neighborhood for the most part, without even knowing, and we were just able to reconnect, with you, your brother, your cousins, and I'm very grateful that they were able to provide me with a new set of friends that I can consider family now. And granted, I know there's a lot of run clubs. I feel like there's a lot of one person can consider oh, you have a lot of options. I feel like when I first started going to run clubs, I was always picking and choosing. I would just go to random ones just to see oh, what's the vibe? How does it feel? And I think Paso was definitely one of the ones I felt more comfortable at. Not to mention Rebeldes is the team I run with, and also the run club you co-organized, Body Art. Shout out to them. And I feel like there's just some comfort there. You will know who your group is. You will know who your community is, and you will know where you feel wanted, and you just find yourself coming back to them week in, week out.
Love that, man. Love that. So before we conclude, we'd like to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to Reyes Deli Grocery, based out of Park Slope, 532 4th Avenue Grocery. All right. The proof is there in the wall. They are well regarded and well known for their tamales, tacos. So if you haven't given them a try, please do so. They're one of the sponsors of the podcast. And brought to you by Reyes, we would like to close this out by saying, what Dale message do you have for the viewers? So a Dale message pretty much is word of wisdom, advice, a message, or a message that you have received in the past that you would like the viewers to hear. This can be something inspirational, anything really that somebody might need to hear, yeah, just give us your Dale message.
I would say my dollar message would most likely be coming from like a road racing perspective, especially because that's what I tend to focus on the most. If you ever get yourself into like a dark place in terms of a run, if you ever feel like, oh, it's not going your way, my biggest thing would be, don't let yourself fall deeper into that hole. Don't let yourself don't dwell on that feeling too much. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be rough. I would say try to push as much as you can. Just give you all. Doesn't matter if it's a bad race. It's a bad race. What can you do? It's out of your control. There's certain factors that you can just, at the end of the day, you cannot control. But I would say always treat every race, just go out, enjoy it, have the most fun. Whether that is, if you're going for PR, whether you're gonna pace somebody, you're gonna be there for a friend, make sure that race is always meaningful to you for a good reason, and don't ever let it become a bad race.
Awesome, man. So before we conclude, there's one thing I wanted to say.
Yes.
I spoke already with your partner Giselle. I spoke already with Oscar. They know about it. It's also a little preview on our episode, so stay tuned for that. I just want to take this time and just give a little context. I met Jose before Paso. I met in our soccer team. Shout out Brooklyn Lager FC.
Shout out Brooklyn Lager.
I just wanted to say that 2 years ago I was going through a mess up, a roller coaster of emotions. I'm pretty sure we spoke off cameras that I wanted to join a run club.
Yes.
And I've asked multiple times, and then funny story is that I asked them 4 times, and those 3 times I never went. And then I told myself I'm gonna go the beginning of January 1st, 2025. So I was going through a roller coaster of emotions. It was a hectic year of 2024. So I just want to say thank you, because without you, God connected me with you, and it was really hard to approach, to say, hey, I want to join a run club. And it was very difficult, to even approach to someone in there. You know how introverted I was.
Yes.
I just went for the game, but it was difficult. And I just want to say thank you, because unconsciously, without you realizing it, you saved my life. I was going through a mental breakdown in my life. And thank you so much for being an inspiration, not only for me, for every people out there. Thank you. And yeah, just thank you for being a great sport and a great human being.
Happy always to be there for you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I mean, just to close off what Brian just said, thank you for being an inspiration, bro. Thank you for being a great friend. Thank you for being a great support system. You are a leader without even realizing it. You are more powerful than you know. So we really appreciate you, right? For one, being, saying that hello, being welcoming. A lot of people in Paso can vouch that you're very humble, you're respectful, you always say hello. When you pace at your 100%, if not more. You are pacing the runners. You leave no person behind. So we really appreciate you. We thank you.
Nobody.
Very humble, yeah. So we appreciate you for one, being a great friend. Shout out to the running fam. This running fam that we have going on wouldn't have been possible. He's a huge essential part of that running fan. He's the accountability buddy, all right, of the running fam. So we appreciate you, mi gente. Como dice Bad Bunny, uno nunca sabe lo que va a pasar mañana. Thank you, Dale. We appreciate you, and thank you for staying tuned to this episode.
Dale.
Dale.